Okay, so end of your camping week or weekend, so we're going to do everything in reverse. First thing I do before I start shutting down is to make sure that all interior and exterior lights are turned out. Then we're going to unhook the stove, so we need to first do the propane. It's already been turned off at the mains. The quick release you push in and it pulls right out. And we'll slowly lift it up. The bag will drop. Fold this in, and then we can pop it back in the bag. Okay, so we're ready to collapse the trailer first. So we're going to go inside, put everything away, and bring the beds down. Every time we go in, we tend to leave our shoes off. Keeps a lot less dirt out of the trailer. We'll just put the stove aside for a second. And first thing we're going to do is the table. If you tilt it up like this, pop the legs, takes a little bit of a poke. They shrink right down, and there's a little Velcro strap to keep them from falling out when we're traveling. So when putting the table back, there's a specific spot. You can see there's Velcro here and there's Velcro right here that it'll rest on. And it should fit nice and snug. There's the Velcro. We'll just go over it a little, right in the middle. And you'll feel when you nudge it that it's stuck to the Velcro. That's where you want it. Take our benches, pop them in. Now we'll collapse the beds down. So we press this button up here on the J-bar, slowly bring it out, and slowly pull it back, and it will just pop right off that bar. And I store these on the bench. You'll see the bars come down. We're going to do the same on the other side. Slowly press that button. And it also fits nice and snug right in there. One thing really mindful to remember is that easy to forget, you need to fold up the mirror. So you push the shelves up, bring the mirror up, and there's a little turny thing to secure it. So to do the door, you push in, turn those swivels, push in, turn the swivels. And if you run your hands down here, it'll release all the Velcro from the door. And it'll start falling towards you. It is on these lines here, and it's going to go along these rails all the way back. So very slowly lift it up and slide it back. And once it's all the way back, if you look near the front of the trailer, you're going to go forward and pop it in that hole. And it'll sit right there. Once it's sitting there, you simply have to button these up, push it up, button, up, button, and then go back and check that it hasn't popped out of the hole. If it has, just maneuver it back in, and that's all you need to do. If you've lifted the sink back up, you want to bring it back down, watch your toes. One thing I should mention before you bring that down, make sure you've emptied out the fridge completely and left it clean, and that's it. Next we're going to go outside and we're going to start cranking it down. Okay, so to put the beds away, very important, the first thing you check underneath is that you undo these clips that were holding the canvas underneath and make sure any Velcro is undone. Same on both sides. There we go. Then we're going to remove the stabilizer bars. So in order to do this, you want to get your back underneath the bed again. Put your hand nice down low here. So I'm going to go up and backwards. And then in order to get the bar back, if you look under here, there's a little tab. I need to make sure that this slides back. So I have to pull the tab down and this will slide back and lock. Once it's down, it clips right up into there. Same on the other side. Put your back into it a little bit, pull it up. You got to make sure this bar gets clicked up, slide it back, and in it goes. Now the stabilizer bars are up and we can push it in. Before we push it in, you want to make sure you grab the canvas, pull it in a little bit, and you can push it in either with your belly or your hands as you go. Once I get about halfway, I like to make sure that the canvas isn't pinching, so I bring it up, tuck it in, bring it up, tuck it in, and now I can push it all the way back, and you'll hear it clunk when it gets all the way back. Like that. Canvas is in. We're going to do the same on the other side. We're going to do the same on the other side. Before you start pushing it in, on both sides really, you want to make sure that you've swept it clean of any leaves or any brush, or wiped it clean if needs be. And one tip is that if you do have to put it away wet at all, it's really important that you let us know, because once you get it back, we need to pop it up to air it all out, because you don't want to store it wet for a week or two. So we're going to do the same thing here. Number one thing is to get those straps that are underneath. Make sure they're all unclipped, so that the canvas is loose and any Velcro undone. Same on this side. Make sure that those are off, nice and loose. Pull the canvas in, and we'll take the stabilizer bars out. Very similar to the other ones. You're going to go underneath, put your back into it a bit and kind of go up and back. Hold the bar down low. It'll pop right off. And again, you have to be able to slide this all the way back, which means you have to poke up the bar to release it, slide it back, and there's a clip to store it in. Back, pops off. This clip, push it up, allows this to go backwards. And once it's back, clip in there. Be careful, that is a finger pinch when you're pushing it in. And now we're ready to close the bed. Pull that canvas in, go about halfway. Once we're about there, you can see that it's bunching here. We want to make sure we get all the canvas up and out of the way. If we don't do this, it can pinch on some of the metal pieces and put a tear in the canvas. Then we'd have a leaky trailer. Push it back, check your canvas again. Looks good. And we can go all the way back, you'll hear it clunk. And you can see that it's all the way in when it's past this little white knob here. Okay, so now we're ready to start folding it down. So we're going to need our tools to put it down, so we're going to have to raise up the door. And while holding it up, we're going to turn this. And once it's turned that way, it's not locked, but it's secure. So we can actually close it right down. And we're going to go in and get our crank. Right here. And remembering the positioning, we're going to have it in. It only goes in about that far. Once it's in, we're going to go the opposite way, but in order to get it to go back, you start just a little bit forward. You might even hear not quite a click, and then start going backwards. And you'll see it lowering as you go. Now you only want to do about 10 or 15 turns at a time, and this is a very important piece. This is how tent trailers often get their holes in them. Right here there's a metal bar, and the canvas material gets smushed into the metal bar as it's closing. So every 10 or 15 turns you want to walk around the trailer and push all the canvas towards the inside to make sure nothing's coming close to right here. Keep things in the middle. Same here, you don't want this to pinch, so you're going to push it away. If you've got kids or another adult, this is a great chore for them to do while you're doing the cranking. They can walk around constantly to make sure nothing's touching. Now that everything's away, we can give it another 15 or 20 cranks. And we'll go around again. Make sure everything's right in. You don't need any hospital corners, but you definitely want to make sure that everything is away from the metal bars. And in the interior, so it's not going to get smushed when the lid comes down. Only one more run around, and then we can close it right up. You'll see here, you want to make sure that's in the interior, away from the corners. Right here, pinch point, move it away. And to push this stuff just back a little bit. So when you're at this point, you can probably bring it down. You look like the canvas is past anywhere it might pinch. So you keep going, but as you get near the end, you want to slow down, not go too fast, so you don't break the rod. It's very light and easy to go down. You'll see it's coming close. Now I'm near the end. It's very light to turn. Very, very light to turn, almost falls on its own. You just don't want to overturn it. And you'll feel it come to where you have to push hard. You don't want to go over that point. You don't want to overturn it. So once you've done that, take your crank and make sure you put it back in the storage box. Lock up the storage box. And we're going to clip the trailer. So close this, one hand down, you're going to push down like that. And if you come close, you can have a look and see how the clips work. Up. And while you're holding it up, you start popping this up and it'll grip right there. There's one. Holding it. Two. Pushing down. Three. And four. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is take it off of the 4 feet. Before we do that, we're just going to tighten this one up right here. Remember we loosened it off when we did the trailer? Not super tight, but just so it's taking the pressure of the trailer a little bit. That's fine. As long as it's touching the ground, you're okay. Then we're going to get our crank, which you'll notice I keep storing in here, but that's because I'm paranoid of losing it. So once we have the crank, we'll apply it on. This comes up nice and easily. You'll see they go right up. When you start getting near the end, you can straighten out the plate. And you don't have to go super tight, just till the plate comes up. You don't have to crank it really tight at all. It'll stay up there, no problem. Do that on all 4. Another thing that you don't want to over tighten, once you get it up so it's sort of level with the trailer, straighten that plate. There, that's it. Just as long as it's nice and snug. That's all it takes. And the last one. You'll notice you should have your chalk blocks under the tire right there. That's going to make sure that once you get all the feet off, nothing's going to roll forward on you. That's all 4 of them. And of course, put the crank back in the storage case. Before you go, make sure that your electrical is unhooked. The extension cord is returned with the trailer. This is stored. Just make sure that the adapter is on nice and tight, but it's stored just in here. You feed it through. It'll sit there. You don't want to feed it through so much that it goes through that hole, just enough that it's flush, and then you can close this up. And that's fine for the electrical. Make sure you collect the 100 feet of wire and bring it back with the tent trailer.